one of the board members here at Women in Innovation, also CEO of my own company, Leapsheep. I'd like to start off by acknowledging that we meet on the land of traditional owners and pay respects to elders past and present. Luckily, we don't have any logistics tonight to worry about because it's all online, but feel free to fill up your wine glass or grab some food or get comfortable. I'm certainly missing the fantastic spread of food that normally happens at these events. I don't know about you. Just to let you know that we are recording tonight's event, so that will be distributed after the session. If you'd like to rewatch, watch or share it with friends. A note on the Zoom settings. I'm sure if you're anything like me, you've seemed to have spent the last 2 months doing nothing but having Zoom meetings. But if you're not familiar with Zoom, up in the top right-hand corner, there's a couple of settings that allow you to change the view, and you can get yourself into a gallery view, which allows you to see everybody on the call, which is kind of nice for these online events. We will be running some polls this evening. Unfortunately, due to the different technology platforms that people might be running on, maybe if you're on a phone or something like that, not everyone will necessarily be able to see these polls. So we will be reading them out. And if you'd like to answer, and for some reason you can't see the user interface to click on a poll response, you can just pop your response in the chat, and we'll take note of your opinions, which would be greatly valued. And while we're talking about chat features, feel free to use the chat function at any time to make a comment along the way. We will have time for Q&A after Leila's talk tonight, and we very much encourage you to think about some good questions to take advantage of the wonderful experience of Leila. And if you can, please use the raise your hand function down the bottom to let us know that you'd like to ask a question when the Q&A comes up, and we can unmute you to allow you to ask that question. If you're on social media tonight and you're posting screenshots or comments, please take advantage of the hashtag WinnovationSA. I'd like to introduce the amazing events team behind the scenes here. We've got Megan Short, who will be taking over if anything goes wrong, and is doing a fabulous job looking after polls and generally making the Zoom magic happen for us. She'll also be monitoring the chat box and bringing any important points to my attention. We've got Hayley, who's doing a fantastic job on social media, and she'll be getting the socials happening for us tonight. And of course, myself and all of the board is involved in some way, shape or form in bringing these events together. Of course, I'd like to thank our sponsors. We're amazingly blessed to have an amazing group of sponsors, UniSA, Bendigo Bank, Fix, the Department of Environment and Water, Deloitte's and Zonti's footsteps. Looking forward to getting back to the in-person events so we can enjoy some more of that great wine. Moving to market research, some of you may know that we've been doing some market research to learn more about what the community is looking for from an organisation such as Women in Innovation. We've learnt a lot through that process, and I've got a couple of questions, or one question to ask, which I'm going to hand over to Megan to run a quick poll to get some more insight into that. Over to you, Megan.
Mute.
Unmuted. Market research question. Our recent user research of members had surfaced a common desire to be part of an authentic community that nurtures positive values. I'm going to ask, which positive values do you have the most affinity for? And I'm launching the poll, and I will leave that up for 1 minute. If you can see that, please jump on in and click on which positive values do you have the most affinity for.
Need some elevator music.
That's quite a question.
We have recognizing excellence in others, facilitating opportunities for others, supporting others to realize their potential, psychological safety to be your authentic self, and a trusted source of truth and trusted connections? Or other, please jump into the chat and let us know. I can see the results coming in, thank you. All right, I'm going to end that poll shortly. Not too late to jump in. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks,
All
Megan.
right. Thank you.
All right, without further ado, I'd like to introduce our fantastic guest speaker this evening, Leila Henderson. Well, now Leila knows a thing or two about winning awards and applying to awards. Oh, we've got the poll results popping up. So I'll just give you a moment just to absorb those. Supporting others to realise their potential seems to be a clear winner.
Strong winner.
It's a very strong winner.
Yeah.
All right, on to Leila. So Leila Henderson knows a thing or two about writing and winning award applications. She's a past winner of the Winnovation Award for newsmaker.com.au and has coached hundreds of grant and award winners in programs like Flinders Uni's eNVIes program and the University of Queensland's iLab. She's a co-founder of Condotto, one of the top 10 Australian startups named in the Mass Challenge MIT Pitch competition, and in 2019 launched another company, Pitch Society, combining the power of Twitter and self-publishing to create cross-media platforms for investors and public relations. Leila served as a judge for the CIO, Big Data, Consensus, Winnovation, AIMIA, and Golden Target, PRIA awards. That's a mouthful, and that only scratches the surface of Leila's background. Tonight's topic, Leila's going to share with us how to identify the right awards programs for you and how to develop your business and personal story and how to stand out from the crowd in your award application. So it's my pleasure to introduce Leila Henderson.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks, Kirk. I sounded pretty good there. And thank you, Megan, for making all this work. Thanks everybody for attending to find out how you can maximize the benefits of entering awards. Now we're running this event as part of the launch of the Winnovation Awards this year, but the session is designed to help you prepare for any awards program or for any submission where you need to tell your career or business story. I'm going to cover why awards work for you, even if you don't win, how to write a killer awards submission, and what the impact of winning can mean. So to get us all in the mood, I'd like to play you a short video from last year's Winnovation Awards at the National Wine Centre.
It's a great pleasure to be with you here tonight at the Winnovation Awards, which celebrate two things: women who are really involved in innovation and changing the game here in South Australia, but also those businesses which are supporting the women innovators who are changing the game. I really want to congratulate Women in Innovation, the completely volunteer board, for all of the efforts that they put in this critical area. If we get this right in South Australia, there will be no limits to what we can achieve. It is my pleasure to, first of all, to congratulate everybody who's been nominated for an award tonight, take my hat off to each and every one of you, and secondly, to wish you all the very best for the categories tonight.
Yeah, that almost brought a tear to my eye. It was just an incredibly special night. And just by the way, we get about 40% male attendance. So it takes a lot of time and effort to refine an awards application. So you might ask yourself if it's really worth it. And there are some pretty clear advantages to winning an award. You'll get a chance to showcase your achievements and be publicly recognized for all your hard work. And you get to promote your business free of charge. An award positions you as a leader or an up-and-coming leader in your field. And whether you're speaking to investors or customers or to a job interview panel, you'll be surprised how much weight an award carries. But what if you don't win? Because it's unlikely you're going to win all the awards you enter. This slide shows a media story about the Winnovation Award finalists, not the winners. Michelle Perugini went on to win, but even if she hadn't, she'd already won great media coverage and attention for her team. So as soon as, if you are announced as a finalist in any awards program, shout it from the rooftops and do it right away while it's still news. Don't wait for the finals. Tag and thank everybody as if you were the winner, from the journalists and your team to the sponsors and the organizers. But what if you don't win anything at all? Well, there are still huge benefits. The process of entering an award immediately pushes you out of your comfort zone. I got that line from one of our attendees tonight, Paul Huxtable. Just the act of completing an award submission forces you to be disciplined in telling your story. It helps you see the gaps and risks in your business model or career, which stimulates you to think more strategically about solutions. It helps you develop and communicate your values. And it helps you create content about your business that you can leverage everywhere, in your business plan, pitches and press releases, and especially in other awards and grants. The more awards you enter, the more practice you get, with the proviso that you need to tailor your answers carefully for each program. Now, this is a little slide about me. Strangely enough, I won the 3 most important awards of my career all in one year, 2014. It must have been my year, and I've noticed other people experiencing the same phenomenon. Maybe it's because we have a year where all the fruit of our labors ripens at the same time. It's no exaggeration to say that winning awards transformed my life. I've also had the good fortune to coach hundreds and hundreds of entrepreneurs, really smart people, to win their awards and grants. I've been a judge on many awards panels, as Kirk said, and I can tell you from experience that awards are often shortlisted based on points. So you need to do, of course, all you can to maximize those points. But when it comes down to the final decision, things become a lot more subjective and less scientific. Now that's where your secret sauce comes in. What can you add to your submission that will push you over the line in a tiebreaker? Now, we have another poll coming up. So, and the poll is, are you planning to enter any awards programs in the next 12 months? So over to Megan.
Just launching the next poll now, which is, are you planning to enter any awards? We have a number there that you can choose from: the Winnovation Awards, Telstra Business Women's Awards, the CEO Grants, Boosting Female Founders, and any other. Please specify in the chat. And I'll keep that open while Leila continues, and I'll end the poll shortly after her next slide.
Yes, so related to that poll, what awards are out there for you? You might even have mentioned something in your response from this list, which is far from complete. There are hundreds and hundreds of awards out there. Some awards give prizes like free travel to trade shows. Others are more about prestige and valuable connections. VentureDorm from Flinders Uni gives an all expenses paid trip to South by Southwest in the USA. And I participated in one of those trips, and I just found it incredible that Silicon Valley billionaires are willing to spend time with a bunch of young startups from Australia. Springboard Enterprises gives the reward of coaching and contacts. You're effectively joining a network of female power brokers. And likewise, Telstra Business Women's Awards and Winnovation give you access to our great network of amazing alumni. The Industry Leaders Fund, not everyone knows about this one, they offer a grant for South Australian business leaders to pursue a high profile qualification, say a Wharton Business Diploma or a Stanford University course. And incidentally, our own Tanya Jolly won last year. Tanya's on the board, and she also is a Winnovation winner. SheEO is a female-funded incubator with many micro-investors, and there's a whole bunch of other startup funds and industry funds. I wanted to mention Boosting Female Founders, which is the female version of Accelerating Commercialization. Some of you might have participated in their national focus groups last year, which were all around the country. That has had one round which closed extremely rapidly, so look out for round 2. Megan, did you want to show the results of that poll? Ah, good one. That's great to see. Fantastic. Good. Now, I don't have time tonight to take a deep dive into grants, but they do have a lot in common with awards. Grants tend to be awarded for a specific purpose, to find out the next, to fund the next step in your business. But the long-term payoff, especially when you're looking for investors, is that grants provide important social proof. How do you find out about awards and grants? Well, first, get yourself onto all the innovation mailing lists for federal and state government, your own industry, and universities. Network with all the relevant groups around town, like FIX and Chooks SA, and of course, Women in Innovation, places where people are constantly sharing information. And this screen is the federal government business grants wizard, which is just an excellent way to find the right grants tailored for you. And I've put the URLs down at the bottom for your use. I did want to make a special note that on the one hand, you don't want to miss out on a grant or an award, but at the other extreme, you don't want to spend too much time chasing an award and lose focus on your business goals. So balance is always important. Now, related to our previous poll in those slides, another poll coming up, what rewards would you prefer in an awards program? Cash.
Run through those, yeah, cash for a project, status and prestige are enough for me. Services such as legal, PR, or financial advice, trade show attendance, or other. Whack it in the chat box for us to see, please.
Wow, that's a difficult one. Can't even make up my mind myself. Okay. Do you want me to wait while you do the results, or will I? No. So this is where the rubber hits the road, how to write your killer awards submission. And these are examples from Winnovation, but most awards programs will ask some variation on these questions. Oh, here we go. Ooh, cash is always good. Excellent. Yes, I'll just run through some of the questions that you might be asked. Whoops. Go back. Describe your innovation in one sentence. Describe the problem you're solving. How did you go about realizing your innovation? What were the challenges and successes? What makes your solution? Oh God, I'm sorry about that, folks. Go back to this. It's very, very touchy, this touchpad. Yeah, where did I get to?
You got it.
What makes your solution unique and how will you take it to market? What results have you achieved? And Winnovation asks you to create a short video, and it is becoming a lot more common these days to be asked for a video. Now, give yourself plenty of time to fill out the award submission. Read through all the questions and start to collate the information right away. So all you need to do is refine it before the due date. You don't want to be rushing to complete it the night before, which is a joke because I always do that, but especially if there's a video involved. Now, your job is to demonstrate to the judges exactly why you should win. Why is the problem you solve important? Why does it need to be solved now? And why you? Why are you the right person to lead this project or company? Use very simple language. Weed out all the jargon and make sure to follow all the rules and answer all the questions directly. And don't assume that the judges will do any research at all, apart from what you include in your submission. They might be looking at 60 other applications. You need to include evidence that you understand your market and your competitors. And just as an example of a great line or unique selling proposition, one of our multi-award winners, who I mentioned before, Tanya Jolly from DNA Securities, her criminal marketing technology has a 98% success rate of preventing crime and a 100% track record of providing forensic evidence that stands up in court. So that sort of response also stands up in an award submission. Include things like case studies and media coverage as social proof. Back it all up with hard facts and figures, whether that's website hits or social media follows or what customers say about you. How you've helped someone to cure disease or made them a lot of money or solved a big problem. And if you can, include your actual revenue or percentage revenue growth. In things like the Telstra Businesswomen Awards, you have to put your revenue in. And lastly, you need to have a vision. If you don't see why what you're doing is important, it's going to be pretty hard to convince the judges. So here are the must-haves, which are the mirror image of errors. If you're completing your awards form in an online template, write it up offline first. It's much easier to edit and gives you free rein on your imagination. You also have everything in a single document, which is extremely handy. After you've written your submission, give it to someone who has nothing to do with your industry and find out if they enjoy reading it. And make sure that they understand what you're saying. But don't use your mum, because, you know, mums are the worst. They think everything you do is brilliant. Hopefully that applies to your partner too. Before hitting send, read your award submission out loud on your feet. You'll be amazed at how quickly you weed out those difficult phrases. And just by practicing, you're actually practicing for your video as well. Now your video should tell your story, starting with why. Why is it important to solve this problem? Be human. A good way to do this is in the form of a story about a person who experienced the impact of your solution. Hit them in the guts with why it matters. And if you want to really stand out from the crowd, tell the judges what will happen if you win this award. The difference it will make to you and your business, to the state, to the country, and how it will enable you to give back to your community. As an example of somebody who is giving back, I wanted to tell you more about Michelle Perugini, one of our famous Women in Innovation Award winners, and an amazing inspiration for me and I think for all of us. She and Jonathan Hall and Don Perugini founded Life Whisperer, a company that uses AI imaging to help couples struggling with infertility. As a CEO in the face of the company, Michelle set out to identify strategic awards that would gain the most traction in the least time. She won the Winnovation Award as an emerging entrepreneur. The company won the Best Idea, One to Watch category in the Talent Unleashed Awards, judged by people like Richard Branson and Steve Wozniak. And she was awarded a prize in the China Innovation and Entrepreneurship International Competition. All this activity culminated in a capital raise of $4.5 million. Michelle wrote her own company history using awards as inflection points. Her media record is just outstanding. And I can tell you that Michelle actually wrote all her own press releases. So this was the result of her own personal effort. And that's how you do it. An incredible person and an absolutely deserving role model. Now, before I wrap up and take some questions, I wanted to show you this really interesting model for measuring reputation. When you win or become a finalist in an award, the answers you give to these questions are going to change, often quite dramatically, as they have for me. An award will certainly change how you see yourself. You'll become more confident, and that in turn changes how you think others see you. Your perception of yourself leads you to have more to say for yourself, and that affects how others actually see you. People respond positively, so your confidence grows. I've lost count of the number of times that people introduce me at a networking event or in a Zoom call or an investor meeting as a Women in Innovation Award winner, and that happens internationally. It just gives you the edge, that credibility that makes people listen to you more. And who doesn't love that? Ultimately, your success in leveraging an award or grant is up to you, because it's what you do with it that counts. A highly regarded award gives you a voice, a reason for people to listen to what you have to say. Now, just for a bit of added inspiration when writing your jargon-free awards application, Jacinda Ardern is a great role model for simplicity. When you think about the way that she's perceived in the world, breaking the mold of the stuffy, self-interested politicians, she has that innate ability to use language that anyone can understand. So thank you, everyone. Now it's my great pleasure to announce that the Winnovation Awards will be launched a week today on July the 15th. You can find the application details on the website, and the closing date will be August the 17th. They're free to enter for members or $60 for non-members, which covers a full year of membership. So we're waiving all other fees in respect of COVID. And thank you to Kirk for being our MC tonight. I'll be looking back to you in a second, and for Megan behind the scenes, making sure everything works. And now I'll hand it back to Kirk for any questions or comments. Unmute.
There we go. I've got the power. Fantastic presentation. Thanks so much, Leila. I really appreciated the connection you made between awards and grants. It's not something that I'd sort of joined the dots on, but it's certainly very true that the process is so similar.
Yeah,
and also, you know, the practice that you get from applying for awards, you can sort of reuse your submission for one award for another award. So fabulous presentation. I really enjoyed that. So let's open it up to Q&A. So if you'd like to use the raise hand function on the control bar of Zoom, and when Leila says your name, unmute yourself and ask your question.
Now I can't, will I see the name? I can't see that.
It might be easier if you stop screen sharing.
Yeah, I was going to leave that up on the screen in case someone wanted to refer to a slide, but that's okay. I can stop. No worries. Okay. No questions.
While people are thinking for a question, maybe if I can ask you a question, Leila. You've got so much experience in the media space. Can you give us some insights into how the media perceives awards and how you can leverage award? You talked a little bit about that, but can you share some personal insight?
To the process of it. Yeah, so media, you know, often, I mean, I do receive a lot of press releases because somebody's won an award, but the journalists aren't interested in it because you won an award. They're only interested in it if there's a backstory, if there's something significant for them. So it might be what your solution is, or whether that's going to create a lot of jobs, or whether you're raising capital, or whether you have a very powerful partner. You've won business with Telstra or something like that. So they always need an angle to the award so that they'll run the story. But on the other side of it, they're much more likely to give you an interview at any time if you are an award winner, and the more significant, the better. And they're more inclined to include the fact that you're an award winner in your story, which I find really interesting. Yeah, they often say award-winning entrepreneur in a story. And the other thing is that the more media you get, it's interesting. You might even end up on one of those, you know, most influential people lists. That happens. It only happens to award winners. So,
great. I think we've got a question in the chat from Marion. Can you share the full process of applying for an award?
okay, now if I missed something there, I hope that I didn't. I was hoping I'd covered a lot of that, but the full process is to, you know, a lot of awards are obviously advertised online now, but an award, you can either nominate yourself, and there's no shame in that, or you can get somebody to nominate you, but and often I've found that people would nominate me, and then I would be aware of the award. So you should, you know, the law of reciprocity, how do you say that, applies, so that if you do something for someone else, they will do something for you. And yes, so it's either a nomination process, or some awards actually they have to be nominated by someone else. I think there are ones like that. And then it's a matter of, you can either work through it on your own or work through it with a team, but you have to answer the awards according to the criteria. And bear in mind, if you can possibly find out who the judges are, it's a great idea to find out who the judges are and what kind of people they are. And I should mention that we have the Good Design Awards. Paul Huxtable was on the call. I don't know if he's still there. But the Good Design Awards have a lot of interesting judges, and they are on the website. So you can see them, and you can see what their preferences are. You can do a little bit of due diligence on them in LinkedIn. And, you know, it's the same when you're writing any submission. You have to visualize the person that you're writing it for, and try to think about what they would want to hear about your story. And that's all at the same time as being totally authentic about your story. So yeah, I hope that
great.
answers
Thanks.
Marion.
Thanks, Leila. We've got a couple of other questions from Samoya. If I have an innovative idea, is that enough to enter the competition?
In some respects, if it's a very early stage startup award, you might be able to flesh it out enough, but you really need to have, to get an award, you normally have had to build a business model around that idea. So you've got an idea. If you have an idea, you've probably already thought, do you have a market for that idea? And can I justify this being commercial enough? So the answer is yes, it's okay if it's just an idea, but you have to have some flesh around that idea about how you're going to take it further. And then of course you've got to spell out what further means. What's the next stage?
Yeah, great insights, Leila, thank you. We've got some more questions here from Catherine Anderson, asks, in addition to Women in Innovation, how do we find other awards worth applying to?
Yeah, as I mentioned on that slide about finding awards, you have to get out and about. They're not going to come to you. So you need to read as much as you can. I mean, just the very process of reading the Startup Smart or any online business magazine, especially if you're applying for an award in your industry. So if you're in the food industry, you're going to be getting the food industry trade publications. They're going to tell you if awards are coming up. And a lot of media companies run awards. So it is a reason to get more involved in proactively finding out. A lot of people share awards online. I mentioned that if you join Chooks SA, you're going to hear about most awards. Women in Innovation, we are always promoting other people's awards. But that's the main things there, where business publications, trade publications constantly talk about awards. In my industry, which is more the media industry and the IT industry, Mumbrella is where I would go to find out about awards. And then with the AIIA, I'm already plugged into most of the IT awards. But yeah.
Of course, your fabulous slide, and I think Paul mentioned in the chat there, the Business SA awards as well.
Oh, the Business SA awards. I should have had those on the slides. That was very remiss of me.
No fear, Paul's got you covered. Moving on to a question from Melissa. She poses a very interesting question. Should answers be written in the first person or not? And does it depend on the award?
I think most awards can be written like for the Telstra Businesswoman Awards, yeah, the export awards as well are also, yeah, important. First person or third person. Most of the time, if you're writing it, you're probably writing it from the CEO perspective. Even quite large awards are written from the CEO perspective, and you write about yourself and your team and us and we. So it's okay to say that I think this, but we're doing that. Yeah, it's rarely they're doing that, because that sort of steps you away from it as if you were on the outside looking in. So that's my answer. Most of the time, it's the first person.
Great, thanks Leila. Another question from Ruth. When you talk about getting good at telling your story, are you referring to sharing stories of the impact of your service or product more than your personal story? How important, if at all, is your personal story?
Your personal story is important in as much as it had an impact on your solution, on your story, your career story, if you like. So I run a workshop that delves into the story behind innovation, but it's not just about something, say something that made you really sad because you lost a loved one. That is a sad story and it may well have formed you, but did it have a direct impact on what you're doing in your career? If it did, then you can tell that story, and it is a personal story. But just having a personal story doesn't make it relevant to your award, is what I'm trying to say. You can tell someone else's story, so a customer's story, how somebody was faced with a major challenge, they used your solution, and they were able to resolve some major difficulty, that sort of thing. So I don't know if that answers your question, but if you had an example, I could probably run through it. Yeah.
That's great, Leila. We might move on because we've got a couple of other questions here from Marina. What if you don't want to commercialize your innovation? If you just want to make it freely available?
That's fine. I mean, you don't have to make money, and it depends on the award that you enter. If you're a non-profit, you still have to, I mean, even if you're not making money, you usually need some money to promote an award, you know, to promote what you have. So you still have to build a business structure around it. So again, you may want to just give it away, but you're still going to have to market it, and that requires a budget. So you're going to need sponsors, you're going to need, you know, something of substance, as Paul Huxtable said earlier on, to build around it. So again, in most awards, they are looking for a business structure, unless it's purely, I mean, there probably are awards just for being a hero. I'm sure there are. If you're, you know, a community hero, there would be awards like that. If anyone knows any, please write them in chat.
Great. We've got another anonymous question about awards suggest success has already happened. How can awards for ideas be used to progress your idea?
All right, awards for ideas to be used to progress your idea. I think the very process of going through an award submission will tell you, I said at the beginning, will tell you what's missing in your idea, because an idea is never enough. I've seen hundreds of ideas, and brilliant as they are, not sure what I'm looking at there. Yeah, they're not going to come to fruition because they don't. They have to be pretty convincing. Kurt, can you just tell me that question again? Because I got distracted by some other questions coming up.
Sure. How can awards for ideas be used to progress your idea?
Yeah. Well, if the awards for an idea, just an idea, because I think there was a sort of Great Business Ideas Award a couple of years ago. In fact, I think I actually judged a televised award. And sorry, I'm getting really distracted because there's a lot of things coming up on the screen. Yeah. So, but even then, even with the Ideas Award, you still had to have a business model, a business model does not necessarily mean you're going to make money. A business model means that you're going to be sustainable. And those two things can be different. It's not about profit. It's about being able, how are you going to take that to market? I'm opening a charity shop, you know, somewhere on the corner. How can I keep that charity shop open? You have to explain how you're going to become sustainable. And the awards process is going to help you. And just talking to people, honestly. I mean, one of the things I think we miss in COVID is we're not getting enough face-to-face contact, but just talking to people at events and networking events and awards events, people just share their ideas freely. And yeah, it's been an enormous part of my whole career, has been going out to events and meeting people. All the people I know here.
Fantastic. Well, that might be a great place to wrap up. Just to call out a few interesting comments. I think some people have added some great comments here. Don't forget that Fix offer their mentoring service. You may have seen that in the paper. Of course, Leapsheep, my own company, offer those kind of services as well. If any of you want to chat, I'm very happy to have a coffee with any of you if you've got ideas for awards or got ideas for businesses. Moira's mentioned the Community Achievement Awards, and there was also the Yellow Pages Business Ideas in '94, but that's sort of taking us back a little bit. And Moira's also mentioned the government It's Honour Awards and awardsaustralia.com. So thanks for posting those. So thank you so much, Leila. I know you put a lot of effort into that presentation that you've designed specifically for us in this group, and we very much appreciate your effort, and I certainly learnt a lot, and I'm sure everyone else did as well. Thank you to everybody that attended. It's great to see such a great turnout online. I know it's even though we're just a click away online, it's still great to see such a great turnout. And thanks everyone for coming along, and we really appreciate your participation in the polls and the questions. It's really fabulous. Please do look out for an email evaluation that we'll be sending around. That feedback is so very important to us, so that we can improve our services and get you what you need. And for that, thanks again to everybody, and please stay connected. Please reach out, connect with us on the board, connect with each other, and we look forward to seeing you at the next event.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you. Thanks, Moira.
Thanks, guys. Great to see everybody tonight.
Are you still there?